Okay, I know. I promised I'd review Call of Cthulhu. I promise, it'll come. Eventually. But I want to talk about this instead right now. One of my favorite settings. One grimdark science fantasy setting. Warhammer 40,000 Roleplay. I'm gonna be honest, in my script I accidentally wrote it as Poleplay. Either way, let's talk about this system. In fact, I want to talk about the setting too. For those that don't know, Warhammer setting is several different ones combined into a multiversal singular universe. Lost yet? No? Okay, I'm gonna speed this up in the video, so slow it down if you wanna hear exactly what I'm saying a lot better.
Some magic men decide to combine their souls into one superhuman magic man, creating a superhuman that's not human, but is totally human enough to be human. Still following? Yes? Bam. Super magic man unites humanity while ignoring all the plights of the centuries before becoming the emperor and teaching them how to travel the stars and warp. Lost yet? No? Seriously? He created 21 children with his own genetics, but no mother, decided to just toss them into the universe, then looks for them, usually in a show of glory, except for one he decides to be secretive about and brings them back. Still following? How? Now, God Emperor is not dead, but also is, as we got a bunch of retcons. Like, he gave up his regenerating ability so he wouldn't have to kill Horus, but also he didn't give a shit about any of his sons, and his regeneration was stolen, but then there's one thing that I want to emphasize to you.
Vulcan lives! Now, how does this system work? Well, it's pretty simple to create a character. First, you need the Game Master to pick a tier. Each tier you get 100 experience points to spend per tier, up to 4. You can spend points to pick your race. Each race has a different amount of race points it costs. For example, humans cost 0 experience points with a speed of 6. Nothing else. With a cost of 0, you can spend it all to gain abilities. Then there's the next most expensive, which are the Eldari, or Space Elves. I hate them. They cost 10 experience points, gain 3 to agility, and 8 speed, with 2 abilities which make them emotional and psychers. Then we got Orcs, at 20 experience cost, getting 3 to strength and toughness, 6 speed, and a bonus to being scary and using their muscles to make friends. Then we get into the human subtypes, which are Adeptus Astartes and Primaris Astartes. Essentially Space Marines and Super Space Marines, though I think the Sisters of Silence and Battle are Astartes too? I might be mistaken, but either way, those two are expensive, and we really don't need to talk about them. You spend leftover experience points to get ability scores and abilities, different races having a different maximum of different abilities. Not a max at creation, a max total. I think it's 2 experience points to gain an ability score, and different abilities cost different things, having a different restrictions. Now, when creating a character, you don't have to custom make it if you don't want to. There are actually pre-written archetypes you can take. At tier 1, we got the Sister Hospitaller, the Ministorum Priest, the Imperial Guard, the Inquisitorial Acolyte, the Inquisitorial Sage, the Ganger, the Corsair, and the Boy. Boy, that last one sounded intimidating, and I didn't even get close to the mic. We also got, for Tier 2, Sister of Battle, Sanctioned Psyker, Skitarius, Death Cult Assassin, Tempestus, Scion, Rogue Trader, Scavvy, Space Marine Scout, Ranger, and Orc Commando. Tier 3, we got Tech Priest, Crusader, Imperial Commissar, Desperado, Tactical Space Marine, Warlock, and the Orc Knob. Man, I love orc names. I'm a salamander myself. In Tier 4, we got just Inquisitors and Primaris and Intercessor. And those are just the pre-written ones. There's also backgrounds as well, in this book noted as factions. Now, depending on which faction you're a part of, they can change different things. Say you want to play as a Space Marine, each Space Marine chapter actually gives you different starting abilities, but they do have a race dependency. With most of them, it's basically just background ideas and the archetypes they would recommend, along with some sort of origins as well. But how do the systems work? Well, it works off a D6 system, often referred to as a dice pool system. Every action has a difficulty number, or DN. You roll a number of D6s equal to your ability and the skill bonus, similar to Shadowrun. 1, 2, and 3 on the die are miss, while 4 and 5 are hit, and 6 is a super hit. 5 and 6 equal 1 hit, while 6 equals 2 hits. If you get a number of hits equal to the DN, it's a succeed. If it's an attack, you deal a number of damage equal to a number plus ED, or extra dice. So a weapon says it's a 7 plus 1 ED, and if the DN is 6, but you roll 8, you'd get a total of 9 damage. 7 plus the 2 over the DN to deal to the target, which will then be added up, not subtracted from the total, because wounds. I'm a Warhammer nerd. I know this stuff from playing it so much. Then we got the Wrath die. So one of the dice you roll will usually represent the Wrath die. Most checks use one. If you only get one die to roll, it's the Wrath. It works like every other die roll, but it gives special triggers for hitting 1 or 6. In a 1, it causes a complication. If a 6, it causes your character to shine. Succeed or fail the checks, these things happen. So, say you get a 1 on the Wrath, but you succeed. Congrats, you did the thing, though maybe you lost an object in the process, or you dropped something, or you got hurt. It's usually a narrative device, keep in mind. Rolling 1 gives issues, as I said, they're usually story-based. But getting a 6 is essentially critting on the enemy or in the action. Your entire group, in that case, gains a glory point there. And your character gets to shine. In combat, you also add a gritty result, or grisly result. Tied to the Wrath die is the Wrath points, which every player starts with 2. You can spend Wrath points to change the story slightly, give yourself an ally or fuck an enemy. Some abilities also use Wrath points too to push for better results. You can also spend them to reroll for failures, make narrative declarations, restore shock, which is essentially your state of mind. To gain Wrath points, that's up to your GM. Wrath points are awarded for good ideas, good roleplay, or even just surviving difficult encounters given, the grimdark. Now, shifting. That's another thing you can do. To shift essentially means you give up a 6 on a die that landed on it to gain a glory point. If you do so, you must still meet or beat the DN of the check. Shifting can be done for a number of other reasons too, like gaining info from an NPC to make a successful check even better, or to make the action in a question happen faster. You can also shift to add extra damage at +1 extra die. So say it was 7 plus 1 ED. If you shift in that case, you can make it 7 plus 2 ED. Now, this game is really customizable. I'm realizing going over all this stuff in it, I'm really only halfway through the book with just character creation and doing the system. In all honesty, I give it a 69%. Kind of a middle ground there. It's not great, but it's not a bad system either, if you ask me. The biggest problem I have with it is the same problem I have with Shadowrun. The book is just kind of difficult to get through, though admittedly it is so much easier than just using Shadowrun. Yeah, it's not a bad system, it's just a difficult system to get into if you don't know anything previously about a similar system or Warhammer in general. But that's all I got to say, so shove off.
For the grace, for the might of our Lord, for the home of the holy, for the faith, for the way of the soul.